Hey everyone, this is David from Scissor Explosion. Welcome to the channel, and today I'm going to be profiling for you Necrozma GX and Malamar. This is a deck I played a lot last format, and I did really well with it. And I'm very excited to show you this build. This is the post-rotation build. In my last video I explained that all my decks from here on out would be post-rotation because rotation is just around the corner. So I got to get you all ready for that and get you some profiles up. Before we start, be sure and like, comment, and subscribe. If we get up to 50 subscribers, we're going to start giving away hyper rare Pokemon GX. And we have a large collection of hyper rare Pokemon GX that will be given away to our subscribers. And so y'all start getting some subscribes on here, and we'll start getting those out to you. But enough about that. Let's get started with the video. So to start off, we have 2 copies of Necrozma GX. Necrozma GX is a Dragon-type Pokemon. He's an Ultra Beast with 190 HP, 2 retreat cost, and the attack Photon Geyser for Psychic Metal Energy. Does 20 damage plus 80 more if you discard, well, let me explain that again. Does 20 damage plus, you discard all basic Psychic Energies attached to this Pokemon, and it does 80 more for each you discarded. That's better. So, yeah, he's pretty strong. If you discard 2 Psychic Energies, 180 damage, Choice Band will be 210. And if you get up to 3, you're knocking out everything in the game. You do 260 plus damage. And then his GX attack, Scorching Light GX, is an option, but there's other options of this deck we'd rather use. Scorching Light GX for Psychic Metal Energy. You can only use attack if the combined amount of prizes that you and your opponent have are 6 or less. Then you put 6 damage counters on each of your opponent's Pokemon. So it's a nice little attack. It'll make it to where you won't need Choice Band for Photon Geyser. But overall, there's another GX attack in this deck that is much better. So, 2 copies of Necrozma. And next, we go with Dawnwing's Necrozma GX. Dawnwing's Necrozma GX is Psychic type, 180 HP, with the ability Invasion during your once during your turn before you attack. If this Pokemon is on your bench, you can switch it with your active Pokemon. It's an ability we've seen on Pokemon like Keldeo EX in the past with the Russian ability. So it's a very powerful ability, allowing you to get a Pokemon that's in the active, maybe about to be knocked out, switched out with Dawnwing's Necrozma. Then Dawnwing's Necrozma has the attack Dark Flash for 120 damage, 3 Psychic Energies. This attack's damage isn't affected by resistance. With Malamar in this deck, it's not hard to get 3 Psychic Energies onto this Pokemon. And then the GX attack of choice that I like to play in this deck anyway is Moon's Eclipse GX for 3 Psychic Energies is 180 damage. You can only use this attack if you're behind on prizes, and then you prevent all effects of attacks, including damage done to Dawnwing's Necrozma GX during your next turn. Or during your opponent's next turn, rather. So yeah, that is a very powerful GX attack. You can hit 210 with a Choice Band, and even more with your Beast Energy Prism Star. So 2 copies of Dawnwing's Necrozma GX. Next off, we go with 4 copies of Inkay. Inkay is just a stepping stone to your Malamar. He has 60 HP with the attack Hypnosis, which can come in handy sometimes. 1 Psychic Energy, your opponent's Pokemon is now asleep. If you're stuck in the active turn 2 and you can't evolve anything or retreat, then you can use Hypnosis and hopefully get a sleep off and your opponent doesn't flip ahead so they don't get awake. So, yeah, Hypnosis can be useful. But like I said, it's more of a stepping stone to this Pokemon. 4 copies of Malamar. Malamar has a powerful ability in Psychic Recharge. Once during your turn before you attack, you can attach a Psychic Energy from your discard pile to one of your benched Pokemon. Very, very powerful. You can attach a Psychic Energy to maybe a Dawnwings, and then it stacks for each one you have, of course. Attach a Psychic Energy to a Dawnwings, Invasion, and start attacking. And then, or you could do the same thing with Necrozma. It's a good way, since Necrozma has to discard all of its energies, it's a good way to recharge all those energies, just keep hitting for massive damage. So 4 copies of Malamar. And then I play a tech of 1 Mimikyu. Mimikyu is like the Sudowoodo of Psychic decks. It has the attack Filch, which lets you draw 2 cards for a colorless energy. I've used it before, but not very often. Only if I lead off of this Pokemon. And then Copycat is Psychic colorless. If your opponent's Pokemon used an attack that isn't a GX attack during your last turn, you can use that attack as this Pokemon's attack. So yeah, it's just a Copycat, just like Sudowoodo, except Sudowoodo can copy GXs and Mimikyu can't. But still, usually their normal attack is more than enough to knock out the defending Pokemon. So 1 copy of Mimikyu. And we end off the Pokemon line with 2 copies of Tapu Lele GX. She's there to search out your supporters with her Wonder Tag ability when you play her from the hand. And then Energy Drive is a decent attack as well. And you can get more energies on Tapu Lele with your Malamars. So it's easy to deal a lot of damage with Tapu Lele, especially if you're playing something against like Rayquaza that's coming out in the next format. It's already out, and it will be a force to be reckoned with. So Tapu Lele GX is a powerful option for going up against Rayquaza. And that's it for the Pokemon. Next, we're going to move on to the supporters, and we play 4 copies of Cynthia. It is the obligatory supporter for almost any deck. You're almost going to play 4 in every deck. Shuffle, draw, 6 cards. Very powerful supporter. It's the best draw supporter that we have right now. And then our next supporter is 4 copies of Guzma. Most of my decks will have 4 copies of Guzma. It is a very powerful card. It helps you with mobility, helps you get Pokemon out of the active and Pokemon into the active from your bench. And then it helps you just target down Pokemon and destroy them in the end game or late game, however you say it. Next, we're trying out 2 copies of Copycat in here. Copycat can be really strong, especially with Rayquaza going to be so big in the format. They use Tempest GX to draw 10 cards. You can either judge them or you can Copycat them and then draw 10 cards yourself. So put yourself at a massive advantage because of your opponent's Tempest. But Copycat is pretty good. I've been trying it out, and I'm liking it a lot. So 2 copies of Copycat. Then 2 copies of Lily. Lily is usually my first turn draw supporter. If you've seen any of my other videos, this is probably the 3rd time you've heard me say it. But Lily is a powerful draw supporter. On the first turn, draw cards, you have 6 in your hand. If it's your first turn, you can draw 2, you have 8. And with this deck, you have so many searchers. You have so many ways to discard cards from your hand. Mysterious Treasure, Ultra Ball. Then you come in with the Lily and draw as many cards as you can, up to 8. And hopefully you draw 8 if you empty your hand. Next, we go with 1 copy of Judge. Judge is like the end of this format. Each player shuffles a hand into the deck and draws 4 cards. It's pretty good in this deck. We only play 1, though, because we usually don't want to put ourselves down to 4 cards. Next, we play 1 copy of Tate and Liza. And Tate and Liza is shaping up to be a pretty good supporter. Choose 1, shuffle your hand to your deck, then draw 5 cards, or switch your active Pokemon with one of your benched Pokemon. And this helps with the mobility. You need to get your Ultra Necrozma back onto the bench in order to charge it up with Psychic Recharge. You get Invasion with Don Wing's Necrozma, then Psychic Recharge and Tate and Liza to switch it back into the active and start taking more knockouts. And that's it for the supporter line. Next we go on to the items, and we're playing 4 copies of Ultra Ball. It is the searcher for any Pokemon deck. Discard 2 cards, search for a Pokemon, and add it to your hand. And since this is Dragon and Psychic, it is a no-brainer to run 4 copies of Mysterious Treasure. Mysterious Treasure is almost the same as Ultra Ball. Discard a card from your hand. If you do, search your deck for a Psychic or Dragon Pokemon. Reveal it and add it to your hand, then shuffle your deck. It's very powerful. And like I said, in the first turn, if you draw a couple of these, maybe 1 of these and a couple of Ultra Balls, you could Mysterious Treasure twice for 2 Inkays, then Ultra Ball away your last 2 cards. For Tapu Lele, Lele for Lily, draw 8 cards, and maybe you draw some more of them. Choice Band, 3 copies. This helps with our damage output. The only thing that's bad about Ultra Necrozma is if he has 2 psychic energies attached and he discards them for his attack, he attacks for 180. And there's not a whole lot of Pokemon, bar like Lele and Rayquaza, that have 180 damage. Choice Band can help you hit those big numbers like 190, 210. And then you'll start taking more and more knockouts. So 3 copies of Choice Band. Next, I go with 2 copies of B-String. B-String is a broken card. You may have heard me say this before. You can play this card only if your opponent controls exactly 3 or 4 prizes. Search your deck for 2 basic energies, attach them to one of your Ultra Beasts, then shuffle your deck. It's very good in the mid-game if you come up real strong with the Ultra Necrozma, or maybe you didn't set up very well, and they take a quick knockout of 2 prizes, and you draw into B-String. You can start getting right back into the game by putting 2 energies onto your Ultra Necrozma, and then maybe Psychic Recharging onto him and hit for 260 damage, or 210 with Choice Band. It's a really powerful card, and it helps in those really tight situations. Next off, we play 2 copies of Switch. Switch is starting to pop up in a lot of my decks now, with the loss of Floatstone, which is a big loss. RIP Floatstone. Switch is really good. It's a fair replacement. It doesn't attach, but with Fill Blower being a pretty prevalent card in a lot of decks, Switch can help. 1 copy of Rescue Stretcher. This will be the last item in this deck. You know what Rescue Stretcher does. Stretch your deck, or choose one. You can put a Pokemon from your discard pile into your hand, or shuffle 3 Pokemon from your discard pile into your deck. It's good for all the recovery, and especially if we have to Mysterious Treasure away, maybe an Inkay or a Malamar, we can start getting those back into our hand. That's it for the item cards. Now we do run 1 Stadium, and this is another thing we have to substitute for Floatstone, which would be 3 copies of Altar of the Moon. Altar of the Moon says the retreat cost of each Pokemon yours and your opponents that have Psychic or Darkness energy attached to them have 2 less retreat costs, which effectively gives all your Pokemon free retreat, as long as they have a Psychic energy attached to them. Inkay only has a 1 retreat cost, Malamar 2, and then both your main attackers, Dawnwings and Ultra Necrozma, have a 2 retreat cost. So everything in this deck becomes a free retreater as long as they have a Psychic energy attached to them. So Altar of the Moon is an excellent card for this deck. And now we end it off with 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh wait, sorry. 3 Metal Energies, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 Psychics, and 1 Beast Energy Prism Star. Beast Energy Prism Star is a really good card, and if you could play more in your deck, you would definitely play more in your deck. You can attach it to any Ultra Beast, and it counts as a Rainbow Energy, plus they deal 30 more damage with their attacks. Very, very strong card. And that's the deck list, guys. Ultra Necrozma, Dawnwings Necrozma, Malamar. I think it's going to be a very strong deck next format. I don't think it's going to be a deck you should sleep on. It's still going to have a lot of tools up its sleeve. It does miss Sycamore after rotation, because Sycamore was the best way to get your Psychic Energies to the discard pile. But we still have a lot of ways to get them to the discard pile. We can retreat with our Pokemon. We can discard them with Ultra Ball and Mysterious Treasure. We do have Beast Ring in the deck now. I didn't used to run Beast Ring, and I was told by a friend maybe I should try it out, and I tried it out, and I loved it. So it is not leaving this deck anytime soon, and I'm actually thinking of upping it to 3. But y'all like, comment, and subscribe if you like this video. Let me know what you would do with Ultra Necrozma. If there's anything different you would do, or if there's anything different you try with your deck that maybe there's something in my deck you don't like. Let me know in the comments below. Also, let me know what other deck profiles y'all would like to see. If there's any other post-rotation decks, maybe new decks that are in Celestial Storm, or some of the big format decks from this last format that we're fixing to rotate out of. But y'all let me know in the comments below. Like, comment, and subscribe, and we will see you next time. Bye.